All right, welcome back to another SQLite Python video. If you've been watching these from the start, it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And if not, you want to go back and watch all of the different SQLite videos, feel free to do so. They're all in a playlist. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any videos I make in the future. And in the last video, we dynamically created insert statements and used those to insert data into our SQLite database. And I said at the end of that video we're going to talk about updates next, but I lied. I actually want to show you how to use placeholders in SQLite and Python, and really why you might want to do something this way. So without further ado, let's go back to where we ended last video, where I created these dynamic insert statements to take a string, which by the way I altered to add a new car to our database, dissect that string, get all of the different manufacturers, all the different models, and all the different number of doors from that string, and create insert statements from this master string, I guess we'll call it. But there could be an issue come up if the user enters data in such a way. Like for instance, if they put a single quote in one of the fields. So let's say the user types in Nissan, and because it's a human user, they're likely to make mistakes. Or enter data that we never thought users would enter, right? Because that's just what they do best. So instead of Nissan, they happen to put Nissan and then a single quote. And so if we run this, and it's going to get an error near the Ultima. And if we look further and we expand this, we can see Nissan does have a single quote in it. And the reason this is an issue is because now that messes up our whole SQL statement that we dynamically create, right? We have a single quote here, but if I have a single quote in Nissan, or rather the first manufacturer, that's going to blow up this whole statement because now we have this extra single quote and there's nothing to close it. So what we can do to avoid this kind of issue is to use placeholders when executing a SQL insert statement. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put the data that we're going to pass into the insert statement into a tuple. So I'm going to call this tuple vals, and I'm just going to copy this whole thing here, or rather I guess cut. And we'll remove the squiggly brace, curly brace, from each one. And now we have a tuple of the manufacturer, the model, and the amount of doors. So in the SQL statement, where we want these values to go, we're going to put question marks as our placeholder. And so what this is really saying is when it goes to execute the SQL, it's going to look for some data to place wherever there is a question mark. In our case, it's going to be the manufacturer, the model, and the doors all from this vals tuple. And so when we run this cursor.execute, we're also going to pass in the optional parameter vals. And so the first question mark will be this Nissan. The second question mark will be Ultima, and the third question mark will be the number 4. And really the first question mark is going to be Nissan with a single quote. And now if we run this, notice there's no error. And if we go back to our database browser and we go to refresh, we have Nissan, but it has a single quote. Something to take note, you can see the ID skips from 8 to 10. That's because I tested this out before creating this video. So when I made this line earlier, it increased the sequence, and that's why we're on sequence 10 now for ID. But anyway, that is how you can use placeholders when you don't quite know what kind of data the user is going to enter. So thanks so much for watching. I wanted to show you guys that, and I hope to see you in the next video.